Hi everybody, Wendy from Cinnamon Sweet Shop. In this video, I'm going to show you how I make these really pretty, really good gingerbread cookies. The recipe for my favorite gingerbread cookie is up above, and I also have it linked in the description box below. I used these stencils to make these cookies, and if you want to purchase some for yourself, I have the link also listed in the description box below. Now, before I start stenciling these cookies, I just want to keep in mind some of the challenges you might have using stenciled cookies. For one, after each use, you need to make sure it's totally wiped down from any icing, any residue, oils, fats, anything like that. And you want to make sure it's completely dry. So you may have to rinse it off, thoroughly dry it, make sure not even an ounce of a droplet is on these, or else it will ruin the next cookie. So with that in mind, this isn't really very ideal if you're going to be making a large number of cookies. And as you'll see when I start stenciling, it takes a little bit of finger gymnastics to use some of these stencils. Smaller stencils are a little easier to use, but also you want to make sure your stencil kind of fits the size of the cookie. This is a little bit big for this size cookie, but I've done this before on this size and I'll manage. But if you're new, you want to try to make sure it's easiest for you. And for this particular cookie, it's not a very large stencil, so it'll be easier to do. And I want to put this rose on the side like this. So I'm just going to kind of fit it so that it's a bit even. This does not have to be perfect, as you'll see, because we're going to be decorating this even more. So I have a spatula. This is kind of a big spatula, but it's pretty much what I have. And again, just making sure that's exactly where I want it to be. I don't want it too close to the edge. So I'm going to put it just like that. So I have about half an inch, a little more than half an inch from the edge. Here's my icing. Always start from the center and work your way out. So here I'm starting from the center and keeping this thin. You don't want this thick. I'm doing little parts at a time. So from here I'm using just the top part of this rose. Scraping off whatever is left. You don't want it too thick. You want it pretty much even. Now I'm going to use the bottom. This is a little hard to do with the camera in the way, but I don't want to turn the cookie. And again, scrape off as much excess as you can, but you want to make sure everything is covered as well. If you see a spot, you can always go back to it. It's not covered like that, for example. There we go. May look like a mess now, but I'm going to take it off. And there's that rose. I'm going to put some chocolate on top. It's even better. And for those of you that have seen my traditional Cinnamon Sweet Shop cookies, I usually mold them myself with chocolate. But these cookies are a little smaller. The mold's a little too big. And honestly, I just didn't even feel like going through the extra time. So because it's a Valentine's Day, or February, Valentine's month, I should say, it's easy to buy heart-shaped candies in all different sizes. So I'm cheating. I'm using Dove. Now these are dark chocolate because that's my favorite chocolate, but they have caramel, sea salt, all kinds of chocolates. And I'm also using some Valentine M&Ms for this cookie. I'm not going to put a chocolate heart on there. So if you're making these outside of this time of year, yes, you're probably going to have to mold your own because they don't usually sell these other times of the year. So this is the easy part. I took some of that royal icing and thinned it down a little bit, and just take a very little bit in the center. You don't want it to bleed around the sides, but you want enough to let it stick on there, and center right across the heart. and let that dry. Going to do the same with the red cookies. A little bit there. And let it dry as well. All right, guys, and I've said this a million times, but I'll say it again. Anytime you use tools for food, have them dedicated only to using food and nothing else. Because you don't want your tools touching other items that are not edible and then going ahead and touching your food. It's not really a good practice. So with that being said, with this stencil, I saw this extra space. The chocolates would have been too big and also not really matched the color theme. So I saw these M&Ms. And again, I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the other ones. Actually, these, because of the way the M&Ms are, it's just easier to do it by hand. Clean hands, by the way. I always wash my hands before touching this. So just put a little, just a very little dot of icing again. And then from here, I'm going to put that one like that. Even though I used a little, it's still going to bleed through a bit. Oh, look, we have 2 shades of pink. Dark pink and light pink. Well, I'm going to use the dark pink for this. And then again, put that like that. And then I'm going to put a white. I like to turn them upside down where the M is not showing. It looks a little nicer. Although if you have people that are really fussy and they will only eat M&M brand candies, then you may want to have the M up. But there, and I'm going to let that dry. I don't want to lift it up because they're going to roll off. So to finish up these cookies, I'm going to put a shell border around the side. And this, you'll need stiff icing. So how stiff? Well, you don't want it so stiff that you're really, really straining your hands for it to come out of the tube. But yet you want it thick enough or stiff enough that it's going to hold its shape. So you could test it out a little on paper first. Wait a couple minutes to see if it does hold its shape. If not, just add either more powdered sugar or some water to thin it out. So I have a shell tube on here. It's a small one because these are smaller cookies. I always start from the center of the heart. And then I turn the cookie around as well. See the angle it's on? So I'm going to squeeze some out till it puffs up. Stop squeezing and then drag it out. These don't even have to be perfect. They still look nice, you'll see. So I'm just going to go around the cookie, turning the cookie as I go. As I said, they don't have to be perfect. Oh, looks like this one got a little clogged. So no problem. If you have one that doesn't come out great, you just scrape it off and start it over. Nobody will know. So, okay. There we go. Now, once I get to here, this one could have been a little bit better, but stick that in there. There. Once I get to this side, I start over here and then go around the other side. Then I put one in the center like that. And because that's hanging off, I'm just going to cut some of that off. There you go. So that's how it looks. Now, if that doesn't look pretty enough as it is, I just happen to have some of these little sugar hearts. I bought them so long ago. I don't even remember. But I figured let me add them into it too since I have them. Normally I wouldn't go out and buy them. And here's where I am going to use these tweezers. And even with the tweezers, it's hard. I'm just going to put them periodically along. Uh-oh. This may not be working out so well, huh? There you go. Well, I'll do it this way. I'll have to lay it that way and hope it falls into place. Just like that. And then put this one here. So I'll just do every other shell. So be sure to share this video, thumb it up, and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll see you all next time.